Welcome back. We are going to take our lesson from our grade 11 physics class the other night where we learned the factor label method. I introduced that to you. We used a couple of YouTube videos as well. And so I'm just wanting to take this a little bit of a step further. We were having a lot of fun with our calculators, and I say fun the other night because sometimes we get a little bit too tied down to those wonderful devices. But I want to do this question that I've got on my flip chart here without a calculator this time around, okay? So let's just take a look at the question. How many meters in 1 light year? Now a light year is not a unit of time, it's a unit of distance. It's how much distance light travels in 1 year. And it's, what can I say? It's huge. It's a huge number, and we're going to have to use scientific notation to deal with that number, okay? But again, we're going to use the factor label method, and where you take fractions of units, and each fraction that you put up here is actually a 1. It's a type of 1. So we have to start out with some information. And I'm just going to take this information basically from the top of my head, but I think you'll follow along quite well. We do need to have some facts, maybe from books, but here we go. We've got the speed of light is 3.00 times 10 to the 8 meters in 1 second. Okay, so we'll start with that. Now what we have to do is I want to know how many meters does it go in 1 year. We've got meters in a second, but I want to know how many meters in a year. So we have to get rid of the seconds and do some canceling along the way, and then after you do enough canceling, hopefully years will come out, and then we'll express our answer. Okay, so let's go. We know that there are 3,600 seconds in 1 hour. We know there are 24 hours in 1 day. And finally, we know there are 365 days in 1 year. So let's take a look at what we have here. We have seconds on the bottom, seconds on the top. We're going to cancel those, just like numbers in a fraction question. So we'll cancel those units. We have over here, we have hour on the bottom and hours on the top. Cancel those out. We have a day on the bottom and a day on the top. They all get canceled out. And guess what? We've got meters on the top. Every other unit's canceled out. We have year on the bottom. Every other unit's canceled out. So we've got exactly what we want. We've got the units. Now, as I said before, I want to try this and see what I can do without a calculator. So I'm going to express these numbers approximately. I'm going to just round each number. So 3.00, well, let's just call that 3. And I'm going to take my powers of 10 and put them over here, times 10. Okay, so I've got my 8. Now I've got 3,600, which is 3.6 times 10 to the 3. I'm going to just call that 4, okay? So times 4. And because we're doing scientific notation, the rules for scientific notation apply. So my 4 comes from rounding the 3.6, and my 3 comes from there. I know I'm going through this a little bit quickly, but hopefully that'll be okay. My 24, well, you know what, I'm gonna compensate. I said that 3.6 times 10 to the 3 was approximately 4 down here. So I'm gonna say that this is approximately 20. Now 20 would be 2 times 10 to the 1. And finally, I've got my 365. So that's like, if we're rounding approximately, we'll have to call that approximately 4. So times 4. And of course that's times 10 to the power of 2. So we've got this over here. Okay, so again quickly, I've got my 3 here, my 3 there. See my 3.6 here? Well, I rounded it to 4. I took my 24 and I compensated for going up on the last one, and I decided to make it 2 times 10 to the 1. That's where my 2 comes from. And my 365, I decided to round up to a 4 times 10 to the 2. And all those values, all those powers are added. Okay, you'd learn that in a basic math class. So let's carry on. We've got 3 times 4 is 12, times 2 is 24, times 4 is 96. So we have 96 times 10 to the 8, 11, 12, 14. And you know that in proper scientific notation, 96 is not allowed. So you have to take that 96, you have to change it to 9.6 times 10 to the 1, and then again times 10 to the 14. And we're finally going to get our answer down here after all that work. And it's going to be 9.6 times 10 to the 15. And it is meters per year. Per year. And it wants to know how many in a year, so the answer would be 9.6 times 10 to the 15. And just for your information, the accepted value for a light year is actually 9.46 times 10 to the 15. So we are really close as far as percentage goes. And you know what? I would rather you do this than spend a lot of time punching in numbers on a calculator. The calculators have their place, but you know what? If you can do some serious rounding, it will go a long way in your math or science career. So, see you next time.